All right, we're on page 325. This is the Module 11 test review, and since, I'm going to go scroll to the bottom of the page, since we only did lessons 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3, clearly it wouldn't make sense to do this section right here, so we're going to skip all of this section of the review. Okay? All right, let's check them out. 11.1. The directions for 11.1 read, determine whether the given value is a solution of the equation. So what we do here is we take the b out and replace it with 60. And is 60 over 12 equal to 5? Well, that means 60 divided by 12. Is 60 divided by 12 equal to 5? Well, I can check that by doing what's 12 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 6. So the answer is yes. 60 divided by 12 is equal to 5. All right, how about number 2? You're supposed to take the w out and replace it with 12. And I get 7 right next to 12. That means 7 times 12. Is 7 times 12 equal to 87? Well, let's find out. 7 times 12. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. I get 84. It's not 87. The answer is no. So we've got a yes for number 1 and a no for number 2, and let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to rewrite those just to leave my answers there, yes and no. All right, the directions read, write an equation to represent the situation. The number of eggs in the refrigerator E is decreased. I'm not reading that correctly. The number of eggs in the refrigerator E decreased by 5 equals 18. So what do we have going on here? We have some eggs. We don't know how many. Decrease by 5 means subtract 5. And then it says equals 18. Now it doesn't ask us to solve. If it did, we could figure that out. We would simply add 5 to 18 and we get 23. It doesn't ask us to do that. It just asks us to write the equation. So we have done that. Okay, let's move on. 11.2, these are the ones, they were addition and subtraction equations. If you notice, we have all addition and subtraction, subtraction, addition, addition, subtraction. And so we will remember how to do that. We solved the addition problems by subtracting, and we solved the subtraction problems by adding. And I'll review that with you right now. Number 4 is r minus 38 equals 9. So what are we supposed to do? This is a subtraction problem that we solve by adding. So I add 38 to both sides of the equation. And negative 38 plus 38, all that's left is r. Those cancel. But 9 plus 38, and I don't have that lined up very well. Really, I should make it look like this. 38 plus 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. And 3 plus 1 is 4. The answer is 47. And I can check that simply by going, what's 47 minus 38? It should be 9, because I would borrow here and make this 17. 17 minus 8 is 9, and 3 minus 3 is nothing. It's 9. So I know the answer is r equals 47. So the main thing I'm trying to remind you here is what I've said a couple times, which is we solve the addition problems by subtracting, and we solve the subtraction problems by adding. So number 5, h plus 17 equals 40. I'm going to solve that by subtracting 17. H is going to be equal to, I borrow here and make this 10. 10 minus 7 is 3, and 3 minus 1 is 2. I get 23. That should make perfect sense, because if I took 23 out right here, 23 plus 17 would be 40. We can prove that. It may not look like 40, but it is. 3 plus 7 is 10. And 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. It's 40. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, we're on number 6. N plus 75 equals 155. I solve the addition equations by subtracting. N equals 5 minus 5 is 0. And 15 minus 7 is 8. I get 80. I should write N equals 80. And how do I check that? I take N out and replace it with 80. 80 plus 75, that needs to be 155. It is, because 0 plus 5 is 5, and 8 plus 7 is 15. Perfect. We are on number 7. Number 7 is a subtraction equation. we solve subtraction equations by, I'm going to put a tail on my cue to make sure I know that's not a 9. We solve subtraction equations by adding. So I'm actually going to add 17 to both sides of the equation. Negative 17 plus 17, that cancels. All that's left is q. And 17 plus 18 is 35, because 8 plus 7 is 15. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. It's 35. I should write h equals 23 and q equals 35. And I can check that by putting 35 right here. 35 minus 17 needs to be 18. We know that it is because 15 minus 7 is 8, and 2 minus 1 is 1. It's 18. Perfect. Okay, so the review, I'm going to say it one last time. The review is that you solve the addition problems by subtracting, and you solve the subtraction problems by adding. And we're going to do the same thing here. It's called the inverse operation. We're going to do the same thing here on numbers 8 through 11. We're switching over to multiplication and division, but it's the same thing. This is a multiplication problem. We're going to solve by dividing. This is a division problem. We're going to solve by multiplying. This is division. We're going to multiply. This is multiplication. We're going to divide. You do the inverse or the opposite operation. Number 8 is 8 times z is equal to 112. We divide by 8. 8 and 8 cancel, and all that's left is z, and put a little cross there to make it look like a z. So how do I find z? Is I need to do 112 divided by 8. 8 goes into 11 once. 1 times 8 is 8. And you get 3 and 2. 8 goes into 32 14 times. 4 times 8 is 32. I think z is equal to 14. And you can check this one of many ways. I think that 8 times z is equal to 112, so I just do 8 times 14, and it better be 112. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Perfect. Nailed it. All right, number 9. D divided by 14 is equal to 7. Some kids might want to think that this is 2, but that wouldn't make sense. If you put a 2 there, 2 over 14 doesn't equal 7. What kind of problem is this? This is a division problem. How do we solve division problems? By multiplying. So this side of the equation looks kind of funny. We put a 14 here, and then these 14s cancel, and so all that's left is D. What goes over here is times 14. So what operation do I perform to get my missing number? I do 7 times 14. That's all I have to do, is 7 times 14. That's going to be 98. 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. I get 98. And that should make a little bit of sense, because 98 divided by 14 should be 7. So D is equal to 98. You could simply check that by doing... you don't even need to check it. We really did. We did 14 times 7 right here. That's enough. All right, let's check it out. Let's check out the next two. This next one's going to be a big number, I can tell. We've got F divided by 28 is equal to 24. What kind of problem is this? It's division. How do we solve division problems? Division equations, we multiply by 28. 28 and 28 cancel, so all that's left is F is equal to. And I've got 28 times 24. And that one's not even on my multiplication chart, so I have to multiply out 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Put a 0 before I start multiplying in the tens place. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I get 2, I get 7, and I get 6. I think the answer is 672. And I'm going to check that on a calculator. I can check that one of two ways. I can do 24 times 28, and I want that to be 672. I could also then do 672 divided by 28, and that needs to be 24. It is. F is equal to 672. All right, one more. We're on number 11. Number 11 is a multiplication problem. 3 times a equals 57. And we solve the multiplication problems by dividing. 3 divided by 3 cancels. All they have left is a. A is equal to 57 divided by 3. I think that is on your multiplication chart. 3 goes into 5 once. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. I get 19. I can prove that a lot of different ways. One, I could do 19 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, 57. That's one way. I could use a calculator. I could do 3 times 19 needs to be 57. It is. That works. Okay, good enough. I'm going to undo that actually. Okay, so check that you have done numbers 1 through 11. We're going to skip the rest of the page, and you are done with the first part of the test review. Please turn the page and do page 326, and then you'll be ready for the Module 11 test. Good job.